With the release of 12.14, there's been a huge shift in the meta. I'm here to tell you the strongest comps this patch. Let's get started. First, we're going over Mirage, Deja, and Yone. With buffs to Warrior and Mirage's Executioner Edge, Yone reroll packs a serious punch. And with buffs to Cavaliers, Deja will also be a top comp this patch. Flexing Ginsu's plus QSS works on either carry. Whether it's Mirage Warrior or Mirage Cavalier, the power plus flexibility with the ability to fit in either AP or AD with a great frontline makes Mirage a powerhouse this patch. Now let's take a look at Dragonmancers. After the rework, some Mancer carries lost their playability. With buffs to the overall power shift from a basic attack to spells, it looks like they're resurging into the meta. Karma reroll is now a serious threat in any game. While she's a high variance comp due to her very specific items, if you high roll the early game, she's a powerhouse. But if that's not your style, then attack speed Volley Bear wreaks major havoc on enemy teams. Being able to flex the QSS and Ginsu's combo, the buffs to spells plus Dragonmancer put Volley in a great spot, and you don't need legend trait to do it. The key takeaway here is that you can flex crit items on either Karma or Lee Sin, and then attack speed items on either Volley Bear or Swain. Dragonmancer is very flexible. Now if you saw my last patch video, then you already know that I consider this comp to be top tier. Anivia Jade now with the buffs to her mana, spell damage, and her favorite item Morello Nomicon, plus the fact that AP comps are now the new meta, and Jade has natural Mystic built into the comp. This comp soars above the rest and takes the top spot once again. There's not much else to say other than be prepared to see plenty of Jade in your games. With consecutive buffs to Astrals, it's about time some of their units got some nerfs, but despite the heavy Varus and Nidalee nerfs, full Astral comp remains in hot contention to dominate games. This is due to Azul's massive buffs for the second patch in a row. This with the buff to the Astral 9 loot table drop rate make going for Astral 9 so much more worth it. Plus with the Nami changes, you should still see solid damage numbers just from a different source. After the first half of the set was dominated by AD comps, the devs definitely want AP comps to get their share of the shine this patch. With heavy nerfs to basic attacks and attack speed across the board over the last two patches, along with solid nerfs to Xayah, Talon, and Sin Olaf, save for Corki and Yone, it looks like AD comps are dead in the water except for rare situations. If you want to improve fast and stay up to date with the meta, you gotta sub to my channel so you never miss out on meta breakdowns like these and other guides for your TFT climb. Now let's do a quick rundown on the endgame boards I mentioned. Deja plays the same as always. Use Yone or a solid Ginsu's user to hold items early. Nunu is the main tank and you should be stacking Cavaliers ASAP, especially with the buffs they got this patch. For items, aside from Ginsu's, QSS, Giant Slayer, Archangel Staff, Shiv, and Deathcap all work well. When running Yone reroll, you'll want to swap Cavaliers for Warriors instead. It should be no trouble to fit extra Bruisers for solid frontline. Here you can flex Ginsu's and QSS, and if it doesn't look right, you can just pivot into Deja. Now this is Yone specific, but also works on Olaf for a Warrior pivot, but if you can't find Ginsu's, then Yone makes great use of Rapid Fire Cannon. When combined with either Giant Slayer or Infinity Edge, Yone's damage soars through the roof. You'll want to avoid Deathblade since it's been gutted and not very good now. If Yone is what you're going for, then slow roll on 6 until you hit as many Warriors as you can, and possibly even Nunu 3-star. Now for Dragonmancers, there's a lot to cover here, and we're going to be going over it pretty quickly. So this breaks down into two main variations, either crit item builds or attack speed item builds. If you can hit early, Karma reroll will be an absolute powerhouse, but due to the fact that she needs full crit items and needing a ton of Karmas early, this comp should only be played when it's given to you and you should not force it, but when it works, it really works. If you don't lock in Karma 3, then you can always transfer the crit items into a Lee Sin board. Keep in mind that Lee Sin wants Hodge or another healing item instead of blue buff, so it's best to go for crit items first to maximize flexibility. Then there's attack speed comps, which flex the Ginsu's QSS combo. These items work great on Volley Bear and Swain. You can give either of them Archangel Staff for great damage, or go with Bloodthirster or Gunblade for healing instead. Volley Bear prefers more healing since he's in the front line, where Swain prefers Archangel Staff since he's out of harm's way. However, Archangel Staff works great on Volley as well. Either way works, just have your augments supplement whatever slack your items leave behind, whether that is lacking in damage or lacking in healing. Although Varus and Nidalee were nerfed, running Astrals through AP carries is the new strategy this patch. You'll want to use 3 Mage and 3 Astral and build items on either Nami or another Mage. From there, just keep stacking Astrals until you hit Asol. Swap items to him and prepare to spend the rest of your gold at Astral 9 to get as many items as you can with the new shop odds for item drops. Kind of like Yordles from the last set, you want to 3-star as many units as possible, so just spend gold as you can and as you're closer to getting 3 stars. You'll need Shojin, and you can combine that with either Giant Slayer, Archangel Staff, Deathcap, Gunblade, and Morello works really nicely as well, especially with the buffs. For a full rundown of Anivia Jade, watch my last video where I go in depth on the comp. Which comp are you most excited to play this patch? Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, I'm Swagadelic, and this is your meta update.